Hello dear viewers, and a heartfelt welcome back to our channel where we explore the living, breathing history of the British royal family, not just in pageantry and tradition, but in the bold steps that quietly shape the monarchy's place in a changing nation. Today's story is one that weaves together the past and the present, the sacrifices of unsung heroes, and a subtle but powerful gesture from the king, with an unmistakable public show of support from the Prince and Princess of Wales. If you care about how history is made, remembered, and transformed, stay with us. Before we journey into the meaning behind Windrush Day and this year's quietly historic palace initiative, please help us keep these stories alive by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and joining our growing community of thoughtful royal watchers. Your engagement allows us to bring more depth and humanity to royal news. Thank you. Now, let's travel back, just for a moment, to June 22nd, a date marked not only in the national calendar, but in the hearts of all who understand the journey, struggle, and triumph of the Windrush generation. For those who may need a reminder, Windrush Day is the annual national commemoration of the arrival, in 1948, of the HMT Empire Windrush at Tilbury Docks, Essex. That ship, carrying hundreds of men, women, and children from the Caribbean, marked the beginning of a new era, an era that would change the very fabric of British society. Windrush, the generation that rebuilt a nation. After the devastation of World War II, Britain was a country desperately in need of hope, workers, and a new sense of unity. Answering the call for labor, the Windrush generation stepped off the ship and into history, taking up jobs in hospitals, factories, public transport, and construction. They brought with them music, culture, faith, resilience, and dreams for a better life. But if Britain asked them to rebuild the country, it did not always welcome them with open arms. Instead, these pioneers faced bitter racism, housing discrimination, and a daily battle for dignity. Yet their determination never wavered. The Windrush generation not only helped lay the foundation for the National Health Service and other pillars of post-war Britain, they became the heartbeat of a multicultural nation that, decades later, would look very different because of their sacrifice. For years, the history of Windrush was largely ignored by the institutions that benefited from their contributions. Their names did not grace monuments or museum walls. Their stories were rarely told in schools or celebrated in Parliament. But in recent times, national reckoning, sparked in part by the painful Windrush scandal, which saw many wrongfully detained or deported due to bureaucratic failures, has forced the country, and its monarchy, to confront the reality of this shared history. A palace transformed, the power of portraits. And so, in the summer of 2024, a milestone unfolded at the very heart of the royal establishment. King Charles III, now in his late 70s and himself a living witness to the changing face of Britain, made a decision whose significance may one day be counted among the quiet revolutions of his reign. On Windrush Day, the king revealed that 10 stunning portraits, depicting 10 pioneering members of the Windrush generation, have been given pride of place in Buckingham Palace. Let's pause and consider this. Buckingham Palace, the nerve centre of royal power and tradition, whose walls are lined with portraits of kings, queens, generals, and aristocrats, now also tells the story of the Windrush generation. The very architecture of monarchy is being rewritten to include the faces of those who came from across the seas to help build a better Britain. The palace's official Instagram, seen by millions, shared this initiative with evocative photos and a simple but powerful explanation. In 2023, marking the 75th anniversary of the HMT Empire Windrush, the king commissioned 10 talented artists to create portraits of 10 pioneering members of the Windrush generation. These portraits are now proudly displayed at Buckingham Palace. The use of proudly is no accident. It's a message to all who have felt their stories were invisible. For the palace, once a symbol of distant tradition, now to become a living memorial to the resilience, creativity, and pain of the Windrush generation, this is nothing short of historic. The digital heartbeat, William and Kate's quiet signal. But there is another layer to this moment, one that speaks to both the continuity and modernity of the royal family. On the same social platform where the king's announcement was made, sharp-eyed royal watchers spotted a subtle, unmistakable signal of solidarity. The Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Katherine, reacted to the post with a heart. At first glance, it might seem a small thing, a tap of the finger, a digital gesture. But in the new language of monarchy, it's much more. It's a public affirmation, especially powerful coming from the next king and queen consort. It tells Britain, and the world, that they stand united with the king's effort to honor all who have shaped the nation. For many older viewers, the idea of liking or hearting a post may seem trivial. But in this era, where images and reactions can reach millions in moments, it's a new form of royal communication, public, inclusive, and direct. It says, "We see you. We support this." The story of Windrush is our story too. Generations of change, from exclusion to embrace. Consider how far things have come. Not so long ago, royal protocol and racial boundaries kept the palace walled off from the realities of ordinary Britons, especially immigrants. For the Windrush generation, those walls once symbolized both the grandeur and the distance of power. Now, their faces hang within, and their families can walk the palace halls and see themselves reflected on the very walls that once seemed closed. This is not just about art or history. It's about who gets to belong in the national story. It's about healing wounds, making amends, and ensuring that the lessons of the past, painful, complex, and necessary, are never forgotten. For King Charles, whose own interests have always included multiculturalism, environmentalism, and dialogue, this gesture fits his vision of a monarchy rooted not in exclusion, but in connection. The weight of the past and the promise of the future. For many, the memory of the Windrush scandal is still raw. The official apology, compensation, and national memorials have helped, but scars remain. What does it mean, then, for the Crown to not only apologize, but to publicly celebrate the legacy of those who suffered? For the children and grandchildren of the Windrush pioneers, seeing their elders honored in the palace is a moment of pride, healing, and belonging. For William and Katherine, their support signals to a new generation, both inside and outside the royal family, that the monarchy can grow, adapt, and face the truths of history with honesty and grace. Their gesture, small as it may seem, is a bridge between old and new, tradition updated, but not erased. Why this matters to us all. For our audience, many of you who have watched Britain change over decades, and have witnessed the struggles of families like the Windrush pioneers, this is a story that speaks to memory, justice, and hope. The placement of these portraits means that when future kings and queens walk those halls, the story of Britain will be told more fully, with all its shadows and light. It's a lesson for other institutions, too, that real inclusion means not just words, but acts that are seen, felt, and woven into the fabric of national life. The conversation continues. What are your thoughts on this historic gesture by King Charles and the visible support from William and Kate? Do you see this as a meaningful way for the monarchy to honor the true, diverse history of Britain? Does it give you hope that the royal family can be both keeper of tradition and agent of progress? We invite you to share your views in the comments below. Your experiences and insights are part of this ongoing national conversation, and we are honored to be a forum for your voices. If you found this deep dive meaningful, please like the video, subscribe for more in-depth royal analysis, and join us again as we continue to follow not just the public ceremonies, but the moments of quiet revolution that shape our history. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.